Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Jayo Gaura Hari Nitai Nitai Gaurango Nitai Gaurango Gaura Hari Gaura 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 Hari Sachi Mata Prana Dhana Gaura Hari Gaura Gaura Hari Sachi Mata Prana Dhana Gaura Hari Gaura 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 Hari Nadiya Bihari Gaura Hari Gaura Gaura Hari Nadiya Bihari Gaura Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Guru Deva Jayo Guru Deva Guru Deva Jayo Guru Deva Deva Jayo Guru Deva Deva Jayo Guru Deva Nitai Gaura Hari Bol 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 निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय निताय गौरांग भगवान की जय शीला प्रभुपाद की जय शीला गुरुदेव की जय समस्त गुरु परंपरा की जय समस्त वैष्णवाचार्य वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल All glories to Assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Today we are reading Canto 10, Chapter 57, chapter entitled Satyajit Murdered, the Jewel Returned. So we have to discuss from verse 19 to 24. So we'll recite the text 24. Aham Vedeham Ichhami Drashtum Priyatmam Mama Iti Uktva Mithilam Rajan Vivesha Yadunandana Aham Vedeham Ichhami Drashtum Priyatmam Iti Uktva Mithilam Rajan Vivesha Yadunandana Aham Vedeham Ichhami Drashtum Priyatmam Iti Uktva Mithilam Rajan Vivesha Yadunandana अहं वैदेहमिच्छामि द्रष्टुं प्रियात्मं मम इति उक्त्वा मिथिलं राजन् यदुनन्दन अहं वैदेहमिच्छामि द्रष्टुं प्रियतमं मम एषाय तु नन्दन अहं वैदेहमिच्छामि द्रष्टुं प्रियतमं मम इति उक्त्वा मिथिलं राजन् विवेशाय तु नन्दन माताजी's अहं वैदेहमिच्छामि द्रष्टुं प्रियात्मं मम इति उक्त्वा मिथिलं राजन् विवेशाय तु नन्दन what word meaning aham I Vaideham the king of Videha Ichhami wish drastum to see Priyatmam who is most dear Mam to me iti thus uktva saying Mithilam Mithila the capital of the Videha kingdom Rajan O King Parikshit Vivesha entered Yadunandana Lord Balram the descendant of Yadu. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada disciples ki jai. Translation I wish to visit King Videha, who is most dear to me. O King, having said this, Lord Balram, the beloved descendant of Yadu, entered the city of Mithila. Purport Krishna and Balram had finally caught up with Satadhanva on the outskirts of Mithila. Since the king of this city was a dear friend of Balram's, the Lord decided to enter the city and spend some time there. So we have to discuss from text 1924. So we'll see the translation from text 19 onwards. So text 19. My dear king, Krishna and Balram mounted Krishna's chariot, which flew the flag of Garuda and was yoked with tremendously swift horses, and pursued their elder's murderer. Text 20. In a garden on the outskirts of Mithila, the horse Satadhanva was riding collapsed. Terrified, he abandoned the horse and began to flee on foot with Krishna in angry pursuit. Text 21. As Satadhanva fled on foot, the Supreme Lord, also going on foot, cut off his head with his sharp-edged disc. The Lord then searched Satadhanva's upper and lower garments for the Samantaka jewel. Text 22. Not finding the jewel, Lord Krishna went to his elder brother and said, "We have killed Satadhanva uselessly. The jewel isn't here." Text 23. To this Lord Balram replied, "Indeed, Satadhanva must have placed the jewel in the care of someone. You should return to our city and find that person." And today's text, that is 24. I wish to visit King Videha, who is most dear to me, O king. Having said this, Lord Balram, the beloved descendant of Yadu, entered the city of Mithila. So let us recite the prayers together. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितमाश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरविषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमार्थमने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यं जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुव एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम हरे राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings at the lotus feet of all the devotees so that I can say something for my personal purification and for the glorification of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. So in these verses, what we read today, so finally, Satyadhanva is also killed. So we see that in the previous verses, whatever we had discussed, so when this Satrajit, when he got this Samantaka jewel, so what was the hope which was given for the Samantaka jewel? That it is going to bestow all auspiciousness. It was mentioned that when this jewel is there in someone's house, so there won't be any disease, no mental disease will be there, no physical disease will be there. There won't be any snake bites, that is also mentioned there. And along with that, it is mentioned that there won't be any untimely death. That is what is mentioned. But as soon as this jewel came, so what we are seeing, first Prasena, and he was wearing the jewel, Prasena. So he was wearing the jewel and he was killed. He was killed by, by a lion. So Prasena got killed. Satrajit, who got the jewel, he also got killed. And finally, Satadhanva, he also got killed. So did this jewel bring auspiciousness or inauspiciousness? The answer is evident. So this is how in this material world, so this is what the hope which is given to all of us, the hope of enjoyment, the hope of pleasure. So lots of hope is there that if we are going to get certain things, then our life is going to be filled with happiness, filled with all the auspiciousness, filled with all the pleasure. But the end result is that it does not happen in that way. It is in something else way it happens. Because that is how this material world works. So the example is given that sometimes a merchant or a trader, so he gets to know that in the forest there are something valuable. There are some trees are there, roots are there, some herbs are there, some which has some medicinal values. And inside the forest there are some special or precious jewels are also there. So if he goes inside the forest and if he is able to collect those jewels and gems, some wood, everything, and if he comes out and he sells in the city, then what is going to happen? He is going to earn lots and lots of profit. That is what is said. So a trader, what he does, he enters inside the forest. So he goes to some distance, he finds certain things, some valuable thing he finds. Then he develops a hope that maybe I will go little inside, then I will get something more precious. So he goes little inside, he gets something. Again he goes little inside. This way he keeps on getting inside the forest. And then sometimes he is able to find, he may be able to find some valuable like jewels, gems, some fruits, trees, herbs, he is able to find. And he is able to collect all those things. And after collecting, when he tries to get out of the forest, then he finds that he has been caught inside the dense forest and he is completely surrounded by the trees. And since he starts early in the morning, so by the time he is inside the forest, it is almost evening. So even the sun rays, anyway, it is a dense forest, so sun rays is also not coming inside properly, and he is surrounded in the forest. And when he tries to get out, so he has lost his way. He does not know in which direction he has to go so that he can come out of the forest. And as the sun starts setting, night starts coming, so he starts hearing some very, you can say, ferocious noises. Some jackal is there, jackal is crying, the lion is roaring. Sometimes he feels that some poisonous snake is surrounding him, going here. There is lizards on the tree, there is scorpion is there. And his life becomes completely miserable. So he had come with a hope that if he comes inside the forest, he will be able to collect something valuable and he will be able to sell in the city, and after that he will be able to enjoy. But what is actually happening? He is getting caught inside the dense forest. So similarly, it is explained that we, the living entity, so we are in a very happily situated situation in the spiritual world. That is, Prabhupada explains. But we, somehow or the other, we develop a hope. Like in Dwarka is also a spiritual place. So there Satyajit developed a hope that if he will have Samandaka jewel, so he will be able to enjoy independently from Krishna. So similarly, we start thinking that we will be also be able to enjoy here. And if we come here in this world and we get caught up, we completely get caught up in this world, and there are multiple hopes which is given in this material world by the material energy. The hope is that if we get wealth, we will enjoy. If we get a beautiful spouse, we are going to enjoy. If we are going to get power and position, we are going to enjoy. So all these kinds of false hope is given to us. But the end result is that everyone in this world is filled with fear, because as the person, a trader, in the dense forest, no one can be happy. Everyone will be fearful. Similarly, in this forest of material enjoyment, we all become miserable. Although many people may not reveal, we may not reveal, but we all are gripped with fear. And one of the reasons for fear is that because this world is filled with uncertainty. We are not aware that next moment what is going to happen. It could be health crisis, it could be financial crisis, it could be like some other person is going to say something to us, it could be very subtle level of fear also we are gripped with. Like just few years back, no one knew that how Corona is going to create a great devastation in this world. So it came automatically, we were not knowing, no one was knowing. So this is why this world is said that this world is full of fear if we are not taking the shelter of Krishna. So there is a famous poet, his name was Bhrithari. So Bhrithari, so he writes, he has written one Vairagya Satakam. So it comprises of 100 verses. So in Vairagya Satakam, he says that in this world there are 9 types of fear total. And everyone is affected by those 9 types of fear. So there is this verse, I will try to recite to the best of my capacity. So the verse is like this. Bhoge roga bhayam, kule chuti bhayam, vitte nirupalad bhayam, mane danya bhayam, bale rupu bhayam, rupe jaraya bhayam, shastre vedi bhayam, gune kala bhayam, kaya kritatnat bhayam, sarvam vastu bhayan vitam bhuvi, tirnam vairagya meva abhiyam. So here there are like 9 types of fear. So what are 9 types of fear? First he says that bhoge roga bhayam. Bhoge means in enjoyment there is fear of disease. That is the first fear he is saying. The second fear he is saying is that kule chuti bhayam. That in family lineage there is a fear of disgrace or dishonor. That is the second fear he says. The third fear he is saying is that vitte nirupalad bhayam. That is in the wealth there is a fear of hostile rulers or hostile friends or family members who can ruin us. Then the fourth theory says that mane danya bhayam. Mane means that is honor. In case of honor, there is a fear of dishonor. That is the fourth theory says. Then bale ripu bhayam. So bale is like physical strength. Then bale also means something like political power or financial power. So any kind of power is there. There is always the fear of opponents or adversary. So that fear is there. And the sixth is that rupe jaraya bhayam. Rupe means in we have beauty. So beauty, the fear is there. The fear is of old age. Someone is very beautiful, so think that there will be old age and their beauty will be gone. So that is the fear one is having. Then the seventh fear is that Sastre Vadi Bhayam. Sastre means anyone who is knowledgeable of the scriptures or anyone who is knowledgeable in material sense also. So they have the fear of someone who can be more knowledgeable than him. So that fear a person is having. The another fear is eighth one. He says that gune khal bhayam. Gune khal bhayam means if someone is having virtuous quality, so there is always a fear that there will be some wicked person who is going to vilify us. That fear is always there. Then the last fear is that is kaya kritat nad bhayam. Kaya means physical body. So in physical body, the fear is that fear is of death. That everyone has fear that one day I am going to die. So this is the 9 types of fear which Bhartrhari describes. So let us see that how these types of fear, this 9 type of fear, so how these fears affects our life. So first fear is that in sense enjoyment or any kind of enjoyment we do, there is a fear of disease. That is bhoge rog bhayam. So it could be very simple also that we all experience day to day in our life. That if we want to enjoy, so our senses have very limited capacity. Like food also, someone enjoys like pineapple pastry. So how much anyone can eat? Maybe one or two because its size is also quite huge, pineapple pastry. So one cannot enjoy more than one or two, but if someone wants to enjoy more, then the person is going to get diseased. Very obvious, we all know about this. But in spite of that, because of our desire to satisfy our tongue, sometimes we eat more and we have to suffer the consequence. So in earlier ages, I think in European countries, so there were wealthy people, wealthy rich merchants, some political or you can say king during that time were there. So they wanted to gratify their like taste buds. So they did not know, they wanted to eat, but since body has limited capacity, so how much can one eat? So they used to employ some physician, and the physician used to prepare certain medicine. I will not say medicine, maybe something they used to prepare. And after eating that, they used to vomit. So whatever they used to eat, that would come out from their mouth. The reason is that if their stomach becomes empty, then they can eat more food because that is the only level of happiness they knew. So that is how they tried to enjoy themselves. That is at the level of food. Now, if you go further deep, so one of the greatest happiness which people think in this world, that is the carnal pleasure, the pleasure of the sex enjoyment. That is, they want to enjoy, gratify their senses in that way. So we know that if someone wants to do against scriptural injunctions, so people get disease like HIV, AIDS, and how a person has to suffer in a very miserable way. So in one class, Radhesham Prabhu, so he explained, he was like giving example, a very recent example is we read in the scriptures about how Ravan got destroyed because of his addiction to lust. So very recent example he was giving. So he was explaining that there were 4 students. So they were staying in a village and they were quite good in studies. So very nice in studies and all. And because of that, they were able to get a good job. So maybe they got job in Bangalore or somewhere, and they were good friends in childhood friends, family also knew each other. So they all decided they will go together, stay together, and they will work also in that way. So they started staying maybe Bangalore only, I think, if I remember correctly. So now they were working, few months, few weeks passed. So one of the friend, so he got in touch with a girl, and he got somehow or the other developed connection with that girl, and slowly he got attached to her. But after some time, or after few weeks or a month, something like that, he came to know that she is not like a girl, but she is a call girl. So, but since he had got very much attached to her, so because of attachment, it is not easy to give it up. So now he wanted to be with her. So now she started demanding. So she started saying that now if you want to enjoy with me, then you cannot just enjoy. You have to pay me money. So she wanted money. So he started paying her money also. So now, because the boy, he thought that no one else would be enjoying with her, so I have to make certain arrangement. So he took a flat on rent and put the girl there, so that whenever the time is there, he can go and whatever nonsense he can do there. So then he had to pay. Shri Nitya Gaurang Bhagwan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So he got the, so there he had to pay the money for that girl also. And then that girl, she started demanding more money. She started saying that you go to office, I am all alone in the house, so what I am going to do? So buy me TV. So he bought her television. Then they demand, because the demand starts, it does not stop. So then TV was there, then refrigerator was there, then AC was there, means XYZ started coming. And this person had an income, a limited income. So he started borrowing money from his friend, and the friend were like little suspicious that what you are doing with this money. So somehow or the other he started saying certain things. So his friends started giving him money, but he was not returning money. And then the friends got very agitated and angry that you are not giving money. So if you are not giving, then we will beat you up, and we will also like just see how we are going to do with you. But along with that, his friends also wanted to know that what actually he is doing with this money. So somehow or the other, they came to know that this boy is, our friend is having relationship with girl, and he is like enjoying with girl. So these three friends, they also developed relationship with that girl, because that kind of lady sees. So they developed, and and this boy, he was not able to pay money, so his friends beat him also up. They were close friends, they beat him up also. And then he came to know that his three friends have developed relationship with that girl. And so he confronted his friends. The friends said that if you say anything to us, then we are going to complain to your parents. So now he felt so ashamed and so, you can say, broken hearted, that that boy, he committed suicide because of that. A real story, not like something which is like concocted story. He committed suicide. And then girl came to know that this is how it's going to happen, and this is not possible for me. So whatever she had to earn money, get from them, she got it, and she took all the money, everything, she ran away from there. And these three boys, since they had got into this illicit relationship, so they got AIDS, the HIV they got. And then Prabhuji was saying that he came to know when they had come to this Pune temple, so to buy some beads and all, some beads books and all. And then they only told to Prabhuji this story and said that our parents have also come to know, so now they have called us to our hometown. And the doctor has said that we have just 2-3 years to live, not more than that we can live. So at least we can spend our time at the hometown, whatever we did, so we have to suffer for that. So this is what we see, that what happens when we go for sense enjoyment, how a person, the four friends who had a very great and bright future, how they completely ruined their life. So when we try to enjoy certain things, so this is what happens in our life. So now the second is what we discussed, that kule chuti bhayam. That is, kul means a family honor. So people are very much conscious that their family honor should be protected. So we all might have heard a very famous statement these days. You might have heard that honor killing. Like generally, it happens that in family, because generally they think that in their family something wrong should not happen, especially related to girls. Sometimes it happens that girls see develop because of immaturity and because of the way the things are portrayed in this world in the media and all. And the girls are also young; they do not have that much maturity. So she also goes away with some other person because of his not proper social background, or maybe not a good person also. In that case, some family members, so what they do, they go and kill the girl, and they justify also. That is why the name they give, that is just honor killing. That just to protect the honor of the family, I have murdered. And they are also ready to go to jail also for that. And they are like, fine with it. Okay, fine, we are going to go to jail, that is fine. But at least we have protected the honor of the family. And that is very much like everyone is very much concerned about this. That is why when Arjun is giving the 5 reasons not to fight, so one of the reason he gives to protect the dynasty, to family honors he want to preserve. So that is one of the reason which Arjun is giving. And the third, what is the fear is that vitte nirpalat bhayam. Vitte, that is wealth. When the wealth is there, so there is always the fear of hostile people. So that hostile people, sometimes the rulers become hostile, so they will snatch everything. They will like have lots of taxes. Like in India also, the tax is 30%. So whatever you earn, you may think that you will be earning more, but everything goes in tax only. So this is what happens, that you may be earning, but everything is taken away by rulers. Not just that, even the friends, family members, everyone is there. Everyone is fearful of other people. So in this verses which and the chapter which we are reading, so that is mentioned about this Samantaka jewel. That is how this wealth, so ultimately it brought lots of destruction in the entire family. Of you can Satrajit, his brother also got killed. So in Bhagvatam, in Canto 5, chapter 14, text 7, so this gold is compared to yellow stool. That is what it is compared to. And this Bhagavatam, it is saying that sometimes the living entity is interested in the yellow stool, which is known as gold, and he runs after it. That gold is the source of material opulence and envy, and it can enable us for all the 4 kinds of regulative principles to break. That is, illicit sex is there, gambling is there, meat eating is there, intoxication is there. Just because person in a very improper way tries to earn those money. And those people who are like driven by the mode of passion, they get very attracted to this yellow stool. So previously the transaction used to happen in gold. So now maybe gold is not there, but in the other way the share is there, there's some like money is there. In that way the transaction happens. And here we discussed that although the Samantaka jewel was there, but it was not used in the service of Krishna, then it brought great destruction. So that is we hear what happened in Treta Yuga. Sorry, Dwapar Yuga it happened. So I was recently reading, so there one article had come in Forbes magazine. So in that magazine, that it happened in 1923. So there it is mentioned that in 1923, there were 9 wealthiest people in United States of America, and their combined wealth was greater than the wealth of the government of the United States. So that much wealthy and that much powerful, these 9 people were there. We can say that they were like the movers and shakers of the US government, because mostly the wealthy, the people who are rich, they are who generally somehow or the other, directly or indirectly, they control the government. So that is how the wealth they were having. However, the magazine it describes, so it will help us to understand that this pastimes or the instructive incidents which is mentioned in the scriptures, that is not something which happened years ago or in some different yugas. That is applicable in our life also, our lifetime also. So I will just narrate what happened to those 9 wealthiest person of the United States of America after 25 years. So it is mentioned that Charles Schwab, so he was the president of the largest steel company of America. So after 25 years, he became bankrupt and he died. That is the first incident. Second is that Samuel Insull. So he was the president of the largest utility company. So he also died penniless. The third is that Arthur Cotton. He was the greatest wheat speculator. That is, he used to do trading in wheat. So he also died penniless. So first 3, they died penniless, bankrupt, they died. Now the fourth person, his name is Albert Fall. So he was a very prominent business person, and he was the member of the President Harding's cabinet. So he did some forgery, so he was imprisoned. And he spent most of his time in prison only. And he was about to die. When he was about to die, so he was released so that he can go to home and die. So he was released, so he went to home and died. Now the other person was that he was the president of Bank of International Settlement. His name was Leon Fraser. So he committed suicide. The fifth person, he committed suicide. The other sixth person is Howard Hobson. So he was the president of the largest gas company in the United States of America. So what happened to him? He suffered a terrible mental breakdown, and he ended up in an insane asylum. He went to a mental hospital. He entered there. So he lived in an insane asylum. So became a mad person. That was his condition. The other person is that Ivar Kruger. So he was also a very great businessman. So he also committed suicide. And the eighth person is that we all know about the share market and all. So that was there in US, Wall Street. We all know about this thing. So his name is Jesse Lauriston Livermore. So he was the greatest bear of the Wall Street. So he also committed suicide. That is the eighth person. And the ninth person was there, the Richard Whitney. So he was the president of the New York Stock Exchange. So he also finally committed suicide. So this was the condition of the 9 wealthiest people of United States of America. So this has not happened to which Satrajit or Prasena or Satyadhanva. This happened. This is also happening. So that happened. That came, and recently also we know that how these business people and all, how they get bankrupt, they commit suicide. So what is the situation which happens with all of them? So this incident, when we hear in scripture, so we can relate that how whatever is said there, so how it is relatable. So now the fourth fear is that is mane danya bhayam. So mane is that in honor or prestige, so there is always a fear of dishonor. So as Krishna also says to Arjuna, right, in Bhagavad Gita, that for a person who is respectable, for them, dishonor is worse than death. So everyone have our own honor, whoever the person may be. It's not that the president, prime minister or wealthy person have the honor. Even a person who is a rickshaw puller or a sweeper also, they have honor. And no one wants to be disrespected. So everyone is very concerned about that. So everyone wants to preserve their honor. And someone whose honor gets like, he's dishonored, so he cannot bear it. So like one example is there. So sometimes when family, we know that what happens, like when boy gets married, so mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, some conflicts happen. So one time, so some conflicts happened. So a mother was there. So the boy, so he got very agitated, the husband said, and he lifted his hand to beat his mother. So her mother became so, you can say, felt so humiliated by this kind of behavior that she got bedridden. And she died. Within 1 month or 2 months, she died. Because she cannot bear, because a respectable lady who has lived respectfully for 60 years or 70 years in their life, if some kind of disrespect happens, the people are not able to take it up. That is why when man is there, honor is there, so very much fear is there. People have fear that there will be dishonor in our life. Then we have this Bale Ripu Bhayam. Bale means, you can say, the political power or physical power is there. So always the fear is there that there will be some opponents will be there, there will be some adversary will be there, and they will try to harm us. And we see everywhere. Like earlier, like when some king used to be there, then he used to attack the other kingdom. So now also we see in political situation of the world. So ultimately what happens? One person is there, he's growing, and something happens to him. Like the one thing is that most of the people who is heading a political party, so they do not want to get any kind of disease. Because the reason, because it has happened that when they get disease, when they get bedridden, so there are some political opponent, they will what do? They will overthrow them. This has happened, that they overthrow and they take up the power. And similarly, like business empires also, like they have controlling the business empire, so someone will come and they will try to dethrone them. The other is that Rupe Jaraya Bhayam. The sixth fear one is having that Roop, that is the beauty. So everyone is very much fear, means everyone wants to preserve their beauty, but each one of us are fearful, especially the people who are in this movie industry, those who are models, they are very much fearful of their old age. Because when the old age comes, the wrinkles comes on the face and all, and their beauty goes away. So that is why they use different kind of chemicals, they use beauty creams, all these things they will use just to preserve their beauty, because they are very much fearful of this. So we may be saying that maybe the movie stars are there, models are there, they're only concerned about their beauty. But it is not only about them, it is about us also. Because generally when we look our face in the mirror, so we also think that we are very beautiful. When we see our eyes in the mirror, our nose, it may be flat or I don't know what kind of, but we think that we are very beautiful. And the proof is that these days, if we get chance, I have seen it, if you see anyone's mobile and you switch on their camera, so most of their camera will be there in their selfie mode. Because everyone wants to click their own picture and they want to post it on their social network site. So most of the people, they will just click their selfie because they have this feeling that I'm very beautiful and they want to see that how many people are liking their photo. So generally, because we know our situation, because we are not that beautiful, so generally what people do these days, so they use props. So they will go to some very scenic place. So the like this is like we can say some garden they will go. So there they will click their pictures, and some people will go near the waterfall, and there they will click their picture from a big great height. The thing is that maybe my face is not beautiful, but by seeing the waterfall or seeing these places and all, so people will means give some like on their picture, and we will feel that maybe that some kind of my ego will get satisfied. So that is the fear. And in real sense, that desire we have, that we should be looking beautiful, we should be looking very nice to other people. So there was one model. So because for them it is like mostly because of their facial value they get role in the movies and all. So it's a real incident. So model was there. So everyone used to praise because of her beauty and all. So one day a thought came to her mind when she was looking herself in the mirror, that what if my beauty goes away and I start looking very ugly. So that thought came to her mind. And when that thought came to her mind, so she actually saw her crooked face in the mirror. Actually, because the person becomes very emotionally disturbed also, like because their bread and butter, name and fame, everything is dependent on that. So when she saw her crooked face in the mirror, so she became extremely disturbed. She thought that my future is this, like my future is this, and this beauty, when it becomes like that, then people are not going to respect me, people are not going to value me, so I am going to lose everything. And she could not bear that, and she got mental breakdown, and after that she was not able to lead a normal life, and finally she died also all alone and all. So that is what happens when we are like too much attached to our bodily consciousness. That is about the rupe jaraya bhayam. When our beauty is there, we are fearful. Old age is there because no one can stop old age. Now the eighth is that, so seventh is that Shastre Vadi Bhayam. So even a learned person is there, so they always have this fear that someone other person will become more learned. So that is why someone is getting first rank in the class, always fearful. What if I get the second rank? So maybe not just about the student also, in like some other places, like scientists are also fearful that before me someone should not invent certain thing, because multiple scientists keep on doing research on a particular subject matter. So that fear is there. Some writer will also fear that some others book may not come, they may not win the Booker Prize or Nobel Prize. So that fear is there. Then another is that the eighth fear is the gune khal bhayam. So someone has a virtuous quality, so other wicked person is always there. That is how this world is made. Some wicked person will be there trying to vilify a person. So even in like Chaitanya Charitamrita also we read. So Amogha, he unnecessarily used to criticize Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Ramchandra Puri, so he used to criticize. So Ramchandra Puri, very interesting. So when he came to Puri, so he made Jagdanand to eat more and more prasad. And after he Jagdanand ate more and more prasad, then he started criticizing him. So what kind of person you are, devotee you are, they are eating this much kind of prasad. So he only made him eat, and again he is only criticizing him. So the person is there, people are there who try to vilify other person. So that is how the fear is always there. Because if I have something good quality, people will vilify me. And the last is that the kaye kritatnad bhayam. Kaya, that physical body is there. And when we have this physical body, so always that fear is there. That is the fear of death. So once when Prabhupada was there in the United States, so someone asked Prabhupada, the why in India the death rate is so much. So Prabhupada said, as far as I know, death rate is 100% all over the world. Because it's not that in India only people are dying, everywhere people are dying. So that fear is there, death, and everyone is dying. So as long as we have this bodily consciousness, so this kind of fear will always be there. So what Brit Hari is saying here, there are other things we'll discuss when we have time. So here Brit Hari, what he is saying, So what is the solution? Now we discuss about 9 types of fear. So what the solution he is saying? So solution he is saying that Sarvam Vastu Bhavan Vitam Bhubi Nirnam Vairagyam Abhiyam. So he is saying that for human beings, everywhere the fear is there. So what is the solution for this fear is Vairagyam. Vairagyam is that we should not be attached to anything of this world. No sensual attachment, no bodily attachment, with nothing we should be to attached to in this world. Then only we can become completely fearless. So we should develop that. That is why his the book he has written, its name is Vairagya Shatakam. That we should develop Vairagya with these material things. So one aspect is that we should develop Vairagya, that we should develop detachment, this passion we should develop. So now in Bhagvatam also, so Bhagvatam describes the 4 ways by which we can free ourselves from this fearful situation. So the first is that mentions that about chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is the first way, and it is mentioned in Canto 2nd, Chapter 1, Text 11. So there it is mentioned that constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord as per the instruction of the great authorities. So this is the doubtless and the fearless way, that is mentioned that akuta bhayam, fearless way for success in all aspects of life. And just by chanting anyone, a person who is having material desire, person who is having no material desire, person who remains completely self-satisfied. So for everyone, if he starts chanting the name of Krishna, then fearlessness will be bestowed in their life. And the second is that reading and hearing Srimad Bhagvatam. That is mentioned in Canto 1, Chapter 7, Text 7. So there it is mentioned that simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts in our heart. And what happens when this loving feeling of devotional service comes in our heart? So Sokha, Moha and Bhaya. So all these 3 things goes away from a person's life if we are continuously reading, continuously hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And the third is that it is mentioned that when we are meditating on the beautiful and the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, that is mentioned in Bhagavatam, uh, Canto 7, Chapter 10, Text 29. So there it is mentioned that, my dear Lord, you are the supreme soul. If one meditates upon your transcendental body, you naturally protect him from all the sources of fear, even the imminent danger of death. That mrityur api jighamsata. That even the fear of death which we all are having, that is also gets protected if we are just meditating on the beautiful form of Krishna, beautiful form of Nitai Gauranga. And another is that, the fourth is that the service to the devotees. Because it is mentioned that service to the devotees is also very important, because the most important thing is that service to the devotees, that we have to follow the footsteps of the devotees. And the Bhagavatam in the Canto 6, Chapter 1, Text 7, it is mentioned that the path followed by pure devotees who are well behaved and fully endowed with the best qualification is certainly the most auspicious path in this material world, and most importantly it is free from all the fear, akuta bhaya. And what it says that it is authorized by the Shastras. So if you are serving to the devotees, and it is Prabhupada explained that serving to the devotees basically means that following the footsteps and following the instruction of the devotees. That is the best way to serve the devotees. So as whenever when we are, Prabhupada has given us this opportunity that how, because if in ISKCON we see that all the 4 things we can do. We have the process by which we chant the names of Krishna. We read and hear Bhagavatam daily in the class. Those who are Grihastha, they also have the opportunity to read and hear Bhagavatam. The third is that meditating on the beautiful form of Krishna. Then the final is the serving the devotees. So whenever we should get an opportunity, we should try to serve the devotees. So like this month, so this month is this book marathon. So Prabhupada had this great desire, because this book, what Prabhupada says, that it's not my book. This is the word which came from Krishna's mouth and Prabhupada has written this. This is like Krishna is speaking to all of us through Prabhupada. This is what is there. And as we discussed that reading and hearing Bhagavatam is also very important. So when we are like serving anyone, when we are giving this book to anyone, when we are helping other devotees and participating in book distribution, it actually means that we are directly serving Prabhupada's instruction. And serving Prabhupada's instruction, as we know about Vapu and Vani, so serving the instruction of the great spiritual authority is the best way by which we can serve the great devotees of the Lord, and by which Krishna also gets completely pleased. So that is one of the best way by which we can serve Prabhupada. We can also serve the mission of Prabhupada. So as we were discussing, so this is we see that in our life, the materialistic way of life is that they are filled in this forest of material enjoyment. So how to get out of this forest? So Prabhupada, like a person who knows the way by which he can take us out from this material forest. So he has come here, he has given his hand, that we can hold his hand. As Prabhupada said, no, you don't have to worry much. You catch my dhoti and I will take you back to the spiritual world. So you do not have to worry much if we just follow the instruction of Prabhupada and follow the footsteps of Prabhupada, whatever he has said, and all the great devotees, disciples of Prabhupada, then we can also free ourselves from this fear, from this kind of material life, which is not at all auspicious, and we can fill our life with complete auspiciousness by practicing devotional life, by chanting the name of Krishna, by regularly hearing, reading, discussing about the wonderful pastime, wonderful glories, wonderful qualities of Krishna. So this is what I wanted to discuss today. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If I have spoken something which is incorrect or wrong, so sorry for that. So we can conclude this. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thanks very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki